Eidos Montreal recently announced Deus Ex Universe, an ongoing, expanding and connected game world built across a generation of core games. This includes, of course, a next-generation sequel to Deus Ex Human Revolution.
I never asked for this.
No one cares what you want, Adam. We're all up for a next-gen Deus Ex, and even more so if it includes the following things.
I want to tell you, Adam, but I cannot.
Why not?
Because she won't let me.
The boss fights in Deus Ex Human Revolution left a lot to be desired. For a game that relies so much on stealth, sneaking and elegance, the boss fights were like stumbling into a completely different game, a game you were hopelessly ill-equipped to handle due to having put all your practice points into hacking and cloaking. God, leave me alone! Let me subtly influence you through bioengineered pheromones! Oh. Although we're not against the idea of boss fights altogether, there should always be a way to solve problems without having to resort to violence. I eventually made it through my no alarms and no kills playthrough of Deus Ex by fully upgrading the Typhoon system, then cornering the bosses and spamming the hell out of it. Sort of broke the atmosphere. Luckily, it seems Eidos Montreal has already taken this criticism on board, as the director's cut of Deus Ex Human Revolution, out this week, has radically retooled the boss fights to allow for different approaches.
And new creative tactics to defeat bosses.
The bosses still have to die, but according to Eidos, you can just use some of the devices or tricks in the rooms to eventually kill them without having to spend your own bullets. Sounds much more on the right track. Here's hoping for an even better system in Deus Ex Next Gen. Don't get me wrong, Deus Ex is a great stealth game. I spent most of my playthrough looking at the inside of vents and I absolutely loved it.
Pritchard, I'm in.
Nicely done, Jensen. May I ask how?
A vent on the roof. It'll be in my report next time we discuss security loopholes.
Genuinely never happier. But the next Deus Ex needs more options for the stealthy player. After a while you fall into a pattern of what works. Hide and vent, punch, sneak, hide and vent, punch, turn invisible, put a fridge on someone's bed, you know, the usual. There we go, my calling card. How about more options for infiltrating places? You could get into the ventilation system and take out guards with knockout gas, or hack a building's security system to give yourself high-level clearance. This ties into something else we'd love more of, and that's social stealth. Sure, Adam's a pretty conspicuous guy with his robot arms and hexagon face.
I never asked for this.
You mentioned, yeah, but there are fewer strategies more tense than a barely maintained cover story and multi-choice dialogue with suspicious enemies.
Toxic gas? Nobody told me. I guess it wouldn't hurt to have you check things out up here.
The social enhancement augmentations were a really cool idea, and we'd love more of that social stealth and persuasion incorporated into a sequel.
I will give you what you want, Mr. Jensen.
Attacking unnecessary multiplayer modes onto single-player games is the pits, but there are actual interesting ways to add multiplayer to Deus Ex without destroying the essence of the game. So, we're not asking for deathmatch or even straight co-op. The Deus Ex Universe announcement mentioned additional Deus Ex games and experiences available in other media such as tablets and smartphones. So how about an asymmetrical experience in which one player controls the main character, as in Human Revolution, while the other takes the role of a Pritchard-style tech guy, hacking doors, disabling security cameras, turning turrets against enemies, and running interference for their partner. You can even be a condescending douche while you're doing it for the full Pritchard experience.
Oh, wait, I forgot. Ex-cop. I doubt you'd understand.
Ugh, that guy. Hengshire and Detroit were both great city hubs, visually interesting, each with a distinctive character. Both felt slightly limited though. They had loading screens, roadblocks and dead ends that made them feel less like cities and more like walled-off sections of cities. With the power of Next Gen, Eidos needs to make the hub areas bigger and more explorable, with fewer loading screens and more things to do when we're not on a mission. Besides leaving fridges on people's beds, obviously. They are going to be so confused when they get home. We need to visit and explore more places too. We know at least 3 city hubs were cut from Human Revolution, including a Montreal hub, Upper Hengshire, and one set in India. Maybe we'll see them in the sequel.
Where are you, Adam? You don't have time to mess around. Get to the helipad, or something seriously bad is gonna happen.
If you remember the first mission of Deus Ex Human Revolution, it involved a hostage situation at a Sarif Industries manufacturing plant. David Sarif tells you to get to the helipad to start the mission as soon as you can.
Sorry to pull you out of sick leave so soon, but we've got a situation.
Usually in video game speak, as soon as you can means exactly the length of time it takes you to get there, so you can take your time doing whatever it is Adam Jensen actually does in the office.
In the early days of human enhancement technology.
Oh, but it turns out we took too long and now all the hostages are dead. Hope looking at that mustard was worth it, Adam.
I never asked for...
Shh. This is a great idea, and maybe it's all the more powerful for only being used once, but added time pressure with real consequences would pump up the drama of more time-pressured missions. Stealth is always going to be a slower option, so if you're playing non-lethally, can you afford to stick to your principles if there are innocent lives at stake?
Do I trust mankind to save itself? That's what Eliza was asking. The truth is, I don't know.
Now, technically Deus Ex Human Revolution had 12 different endings, but in reality they were minor variations on 4 depending on whether you were good, evil, or neutral. The way you got these endings was by literally pressing one of 4 buttons right at the very end of the game. To us this feels like a hangover from the design of the original Deus Ex games. No bad thing, but we'd love an even more nuanced ending based on the accumulation of your decisions throughout the game. Something that properly acknowledges whether we chose the pacifist route throughout or blew everyone sky high with our exploding back pinballs, whether we chose to keep Megan's bracelet or give it back to her mother, whether we left fridges on everyone's beds or didn't do that. Does that count as good, evil or neutral? I'm not even sure. We want an ending as unique as we hope our playthrough will be. Make it happen, Eidos Montreal.
I was in my wingsuit halfway to the top of the Renaissance Center when I got the 911. But you? 6 months is a hell of a short time to come back from the dead. You sure you're ready for this?
You know who doesn't get enough screen time in Deus Ex Human Revolution? Faridah Malik. She's the lady pilot who ferries Adam Jensen between city hubs and Sarah's VTOL plane. Interaction with Faridah is limited on account of her being basically a fast travel system in a cool flight suit, but even so there are enough engaging character moments to set her up for a triumphant return and bigger role in Next Gen Deus Ex. Remember this?
Now get on with the damned mission. And thanks, bye boy.
Or how about this?
Jensen, if you even think of using that Casey mod on me, I will hit you.
Or remember the time you did an elaborate revenge on her behalf and hacked an entire nightclub to expose her friend's murderer?
Malik, remind me never to piss you off.
After everything you've done here for Evelyn, for me, you'd have to try pretty hard, mister.
Good times. Let's have her back, yeah?
Jensen.
Malik?
So there we have the 7 things we want from a next-gen Deus Ex game. Do you agree? Or do we need to release the bioengineered pheromones? Because that stuff is really hard to get out of your clothes, believe us. Either way, let us know in the comments below and add your own suggestions for making the perfect next-gen Deus Ex game. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Outside Xbox.